Hi, welcome to Tuesdays with Terra. I'm Terra Bundance, and today I'm going to talk about how we affect the world around us. What is my impact on the world around me? And really, the goal here is to recognize that no matter how we show up, no matter what we do, no matter what choices we make in our lives and in our experiences and how we express ourselves, we matter. We do make a difference, whether we're trying to or not. And that everything that we do is important and affects the people around us. And it's okay for us to realize that it doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to look like so and so next door, or our best friend, or our partner, or how we think other people want us to be. As a matter of fact, it's not necessary, and it changes how you impact the world. And you are you, and there's a reason for you in the world. And so I'm just going to have a little conversation about that today. My goal here today is to just share a little bit about what it means to be ourselves and in the world, and then that how that might affect or impact the world around us. And then for the rest of this month, my focus is going to be on sharing tools to help us with presence and help us recognize not only how we impact the world, but also how to embrace that, how to embody that, how to really live into how we express ourselves out there. So, how do I affect the world? What I'm going to do is make this first person. So I'm going to be taking you through this process, talking about myself, saying I and me. But go ahead and do what feels comfortable to you and turn that around and think about it as yourself. It may not be the same stuff that you're thinking about, but kind of take it in and receive it as, okay, I'm listening to Tara talk about this from her experience. How can I make this about me and my experience in the world? When I show up in the world, I make choices. And that means that if I'm going to see some friends and I'm hanging out with those friends or talking to those friends, how I show up impacts that friend circle in that moment. How I come to that group or that gathering or that connection time is going to present itself somehow. So if I come in and I'm down, I'm feeling really low, it's not that I want to avoid feeling low. I must be willing or make a choice as to whether or not I'm going to let my friends know how I'm feeling in the moment, and also let them know, and I really want to be here. And so I don't want this to take away from the experience that we get to have. I just want you to know how I'm feeling. Or I can bottle it up, close it in, and act fine. Act as though everything's fine. And here's the kicker: our friends already know us. And so if we spend enough time with them, at some point they're going to realize something's up with Tara. She doesn't seem comfortable right now, or she seems really low energy. And so at some point somebody's going to ask, "Hey, is everything okay? Because you seem a little off today." And I'm going to be like, "I'm fine." If I'm trying to bottle it up and close it up and act like everything's fine, I would say, "I'm fine," or "No, it's okay. It's all good. It's no big deal." But they're going to still feel it. And I'm still going to know deep down inside, I'm lying to my friends. Okay. So we make choices, we make decisions, and that affects the people around us. That's an example of what that might look like. Now, if I show up and say, I'm having a low day, I'm having a really low energy day, that could be one choice. I'd love to process this with y'all if you don't mind me taking just about 10 or 15 minutes to just move through this so that I can be more present with you. And then they might say, sure, sure, sure. If we don't have a lot of time, or it's a really awkward situation, we're at a coffee shop or something like that, that might not be the right place to do that. So I might show up instead and say, y'all, I'm feeling really low energy today. I'm struggling with some stuff. I'm okay. And I'm going to work through this. I just want you to know where I am. And if I seem a little distant, that's why. And to me, that's okay too, because it's vulnerable, it's authentic, it's present. And, my friends might ask me, hey, do you want to talk about it? I'll be like, honestly, I really don't. I just want you to know, where I am right now, what I'm feeling in this moment. And that gives them an opportunity and some, permission to be like, okay, we'll wrap you up. We'll hold you in this space. We'll love you up. Hey, I'll buy your tea. Somebody could offer to do something to support me in that moment, to kind of like bring me more to presence. So that's just one example of how I show up affects the people around me. Now, if I show up with my friends and I pretend like everything's fine and they know that something's not right, then they leave and they go home and they talk about their experience with their partner or another friend. And they say, today I was hanging out with my friends, and this one friend was just so low energy, and she normally isn't like that. And it really affected me because I knew she was lying, and now I'm worried about her. And so that affects her family now, because the energy that she's bringing to her family could create some, low vibration, low energy. But if I came to them and said, I'm feeling a certain way, I'm doing all right, or I need to process, and we all move through it together and we all are like, oh, okay, well, at least we know Tara's going to be okay. Then they go home and they say, gosh, I had the greatest conversation with my friends today. Tara was having a really low day, but she was really present anyway. And now I know how to support her, and I can check in with her later. And, now that affects her situation with her family or some other friends in a more positive way. So recognizing each of those scenarios and how they could play themselves out, and realizing that they have a ripple effect, right? Everything that we do, everything that we say, everything that we feel and express and experience affects us, affects the people closest to us, and then has a little bit of a ripple effect on how it affects the rest of the world. I could get in my car, and because I lied to my friends, I could be really disconnected, really not in my body, and I could hit another car in the parking lot because I'm just not paying attention, right? So again, that's just one more way that this ripple effect can, bring about change in our lives and in our experiences and the people around us. So the bottom line is, how I show up in the world affects everyone around me. What I do or don't do has an impact. What I say or don't say has an impact. How I show up, whether I'm present or not, has an impact. The way that we bring about positive change in our lives is we become more clear, more present, more tuned in to how we feel. And we don't try to change who we are. We don't try to change our personality. I'm an extrovert. I'm an external processor. I get to experience and express my voice, my life, my, experiences in the way that I do. Now, if I'm around a bunch of people that are uncomfortable around an external processor or an extrovert, I can't change the way I am for them, but what I can do is be mindful about it. So I'm not going to go into that place being like, hey everyone, how you doing? What I'm going to do is still be myself, still be expressive, but I might come in and be like, hey everyone, how's everyone doing? That doesn't change how I show up. It's just recognizing the effect that I have. And if I'm coming in being really loud around a bunch of people who are hypersensitive, or who have certain sensitivities to loud noises, or who are kind of introverted, or who don't know how to express themselves, it throws a bunch of energy in their direction that affects my being able to connect with them. So I'm not going to change who I am or how I show up, but I might change the way that I express myself. That's not codependent. That's basically interdependent. That's me recognizing that, the way I affect people can change the way that they respond to me. So I can't always be present to that. I can't always be thinking, how are these people going to receive me? There's this, it's impossible. It is, that becomes extremely codependent. So the way I show up might be that I show up really bubbly and loud and expressive. And then I check in and I realize, these people aren't on the same page with me. So I take a deep breath and I become present. And I think, is this the place for me right now? Or I think, how can I shift my energy and my vibration so that I and the people around me feel more grounded and connected? That's about presence. That's about consciousness. So the exercises that I take you through this month are going to support presencing. They're going to support tuning in. They're going to support recognizing how I'm wanting to show up or how I choose to show up, and also accepting me and myself for who I am. The main thing, the main takeaway that I want you to have for today's Tuesdays with Terra is that you matter. You are worth your presence in the world. And if you're quiet, if you're introverted, if you're sensitive, anything that some people might put in a box that says, I don't fit in, or any of those things, realize that your presence in someone's life has an impact, no matter how you choose to show up or how you are in the world. And that impact may be positive, may be negative, but it's really about how they receive you. So it's not about you're wrong or you're bad for being a certain type of person. Same thing goes for extroverts, very loud people, or external processors, big energy people. You might fit into this box with some people that that person makes me uncomfortable because they're so loud. That person talks too much. That person is very exuberant, and I don't know how to handle their energy because they seem to be too much. You matter in the world. You are important for being who you are. How you show up in the world affects and impacts everyone around you. That doesn't mean change who you are to fit into someone else's comfort zone. What that means is that just like a person who's quiet and pulls into their shell, you being someone who's expressive and jumps out of your shell is just as important as anyone else that's showing up. If you diminish your energy in any way, whether it's being introverted and then diminishing that by pretending to be more extroverted, if you're an extrovert and expressive energetically, and you diminish yourself to try and be more calm and quiet and less expressive, that impacts people in a certain way, because now you are not being who you are meant to be. And maybe that person needs this other energy. So take the time this week to see and recognize and embrace and embody how you showing up as you is worth it and important, and you matter in the world. And the most important thing is to remember that we need to slough off the addiction to trying to fit in. The biggest issue, I think, that we have in this codependent styled societal expressing ourselves as who we are kind of world is this addiction to trying to fit in, this addiction to trying to show up a certain way to make everyone around us comfortable. And it changes the impact that we have. And it's important for us and it's necessary for us and it's okay for us to show up as who we are. You matter. So let's let go of this addiction to trying to fit in. Let's tune in to our energy and the way we express ourselves and the way we show up, or the way we don't express ourselves and the way we allow ourselves to be a certain way in the world. The world needs us to be that. That's why you're here, is to express and experience and show up the way that you are. And I give us permission to do just that. So I look forward to sharing exercises through the rest of this month that support you in having tools to recognize and also embrace and embody who you wish to be and who you want to be and who you are in the world. Have a blessed and beautiful week, and I'll see you next week on Tuesdays with Terra.